I know from all of my clients that have got married, they don't get married to get divorced. No one chooses that. And so that commitment to marriage was there at some point, but it's gone now. Whether it's just not a fit anymore, things turned out not so great, whatever the reason, it's still a checkpoint. Your soul desired to experience divorce. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast, where practical spirituality meets real life. Hi, I'm your host, Sheetal Story. I'm a psychic medium, grief support counselor, professional astrologer, and a human design reader, and of course, a law of attraction master coach. With my unique blend of spiritual and practical tools, I am here to help you align with your soul-led purpose and ignite a life that sets your soul on fire. In this podcast, we are going to explore the principles of energy, astrology, spirituality, and psychology to help you heal your grief and create an aligned life and business from the inside out. Whether you are looking to deepen your intuition, understand your cosmic design, or transform your business, this podcast is for you. Join me each week for insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that will guide you on your journey to living your very best life. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Sheetal Story or wherever you listen to this podcast. Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast. Today we are going to talk about a topic that is hot around me, and it is divorce. And, specifically the spirituality of divorce. What does it mean? Why are you going through this? What are you meant to learn? How can this podcast support you? Because it seems like at this time that I'm recording this, which is July 2025, but I think it's going to be timeless advice, is that it is very, very loud in the collective. I just attended a women's festival last week. It was over 1,000 women. And I can't even tell you how many people said, I'm navigating divorce, the death of a relationship. Can you talk on grief, about this? And I think I'm going to actually put in a workshop to help heal that what comes up in divorce, because you're either on one side or the other of this, and either you're the person who serves the papers or you're the person who's sort of like blindsided by the papers, or there's a third option that you could be consciously, both of you, coming to the decision that it is time to end this relationship. But ultimately, one person feels more hurt than the other, although there is always grief in the end of a relationship. So even if you want it, even if you were like pushing for it, even if you were the one that served the papers, there's still a finality and a grief that comes when you eventually sign those papers, because nobody gets married to get divorced. That's just the answer. That's the way of it. That's the biggest part of the grief, is that you entered into this relationship thinking that it was going to be forever, right? Nobody gets married for a certain amount of time. We are committing to something because we think this is our person. And then something happens over time when we discover that either this is not our person, or our person discovers that we are not their person. And both come with grief, whether you're the person that's discovering it or you're the person that was like served it and it's blindsiding you. It's always a grief in there because it is a major ending, right? We anticipate and we see ourselves growing old together, having a companion with someone. There is this life that we have created in our mind of, we're going to travel together and we're going to have this house together and we're going to see, if you have kids together, see your kids grow older and get married. And if you don't have kids together, then whatever that life looks like for you, we anticipate. The brain likes to project out into the future where our present person is, where we are and what that's going to look like. And, we have dreams and aspirations, and we talk about that with our significant other. Whether it's supported or not, we still have that person factored in to our future. So when that comes to an end, we have grief around that. We have sadness around that. Our brain is going, but what now? There's a lot of uncertainty in divorce, and there can be a lot of pain and grief. And I think it's just, amazing. I have 2 dear friends that are navigating grief or divorce right now. I had so many women, about 95% of my clients right now in grief counseling are going through divorce or navigating turbulence in a relationship. And I think, in the astrology as well, we have 2 outer planets moving into Aries, and Aries is about me. My energy. What do I want in a relationship? Who am I when I'm in a relationship versus who am I when I'm not in the relationship? And can I hold my center? Can I be who I truly am when I'm in a relationship and when I'm not? And inevitably, when we come to the end of a relationship, we are always tasked with who am I now? What do I really want? What has this taught me? What kind of relationship do I want? Do I even want to be in a relationship anymore? And it's really hard, to think about that as you are going through the end of a relationship. And I think, what I have discovered with my clients who are looking to be in a relationship as their divorce is finalizing is there's not enough time to grieve it. There's not enough time to be by yourself and to understand who you are before now moving into something else. We need that space to really heal and understand who am I now. Even if you're the one that initiated, there would have been a grieving process. Like I find with the initiated person who initiates, they were grieving the marriage in it, realizing this wasn't what they wanted. They would have tried and tried and tried, and the other person just either did not hear them, could not give them what they wanted. The relationship was going to come to an end. But spiritually, what I know is when a relationship comes to an end, especially a marriage, there is a higher purpose or reason for it. If you're the person that initiated it, you might feel like there is something else on the other side for you. And maybe there was another interest or another person that came in, or really just this feeling of this isn't for me anymore. And that knowing gives you a little bit more strength to move through, but there is still grief. There's still this sort of sadness, especially when the papers come through and it's finalized, like that chapter closing is like, it's okay to be sad. If that's you and you're going through it, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel like, even though you initiated it, there's still like a finality to this chapter of your life that was so poignant and brought a lot of life lessons. And if you're on the other side, the person who was served papers and you were sort of blindsided or you didn't realize this was coming about, it can be, I'm feeling even more hard because you're almost feeling like an unwilling participant. I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose this. So oftentimes when things are thrust upon us, life just thrusts upon us diagnosis or car accidents or things like this, where someone serves you papers, it feels like you don't have a say, that you didn't have free will or agency in it. That can even feel more depleting and more angering and more frustrating because you're like, what do you mean? Like, I still love you. I still want to try. And the other person's like, I'm out. And that can feel abandoning. So if you have abandonment trauma or you've had a tough life where in your childhood you didn't feel like anyone was there for you, you're hyper individual, hyper independent, then being served papers can amplify that even more. And you can feel even more hurt, more abandoned by the situation. So, what I'll say to you is this is going to meet you where your healing is. So if you haven't healed that abandonment wound from your childhood and you get served papers, that's going to bring that more to the surface. It might make you bitter, angry, crying, upset, all of those things. And they're all valid. It makes sense for your programming of how you've been created in your life, what you believe to be true about yourself. So, grief, I sort of see grief as layered. It's like a house of cards. If you have a very strong foundation, you have secure attachment, you feel you're a diamond, other people are good, you've had good relationships, you have a lot of support, when something like this comes along, it's still going to be hard. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, but you will be able to move through it easier. You have more resilience, right? You have a stronger foundation. But if you have layers of grief in your past that you haven't dealt with, then you are going to find that this is going to really hit you hard. And I often find when we have such a deep feeling of grief or upsetness with these kinds of things, I like to go deeper and kind of go, let's go through your grief timeline and see what happened in your past. Where have you not grieved? Because it's like a bank, like a piggy bank, if you will. Every time you don't grieve something, every time you push your emotions down, you stuff it into a piggy bank and you stuff it and you stuff it and you stuff it. And eventually that piggy bank is not, it doesn't grow. It's it holds its own structure. And when you have put so much into it and stuffed so much, it will explode because it cannot grow. Like it is only can hold so much, right? The body keeps the score. It will only hold so much before you will have a breakdown. And you'll be crying all the time. You have a hard time getting out of bed. You feeling extremely angry. You can't stop thinking about it. And in those cases, I think because it's layered, or we call it complicated grief, you definitely need a psychologist to support you, because it requires someone to peel back those layers and maybe make some of those layers a little bit easier, a little bit lighter. A really great therapy for that is EMDR, which is like a desensitizing treatment that uses rapid eye movement, that is done under the direction of a psychologist or someone who's trained in EMDR, that is really good with lessening those kinds of feelings and experiences with it. But it's one tool in the toolkit. We can't just lessen it and think, okay, I'm good, I'm good. You still have to heal the wound of it, the root of it. You have to go back and integrate that grief. I often see grief like it's people keep it on the surface and almost like try to put on a rain jacket to hold it away from them. But grief is not meant to be held away from you. It is part of the human experience. And what I feel like, especially in spiritual grief counseling, and what I do is we weave it into you. You now kind of pull it through you and you hold it like like a cloak almost, but it's kind of woven through you like a basket, so that it is part of who you are. Like, you'll never not be sad if someone close to you dies. You're never not going to miss if your child passes or your parent passes. Like, you're always going to miss them. So there's no such thing as healing it per se, but we're integrating it. So we're honoring that person versus holding it away from us, pushing it down. It's not water on a rain jacket. It's actually like woven through us like a basket. And so that when it comes up, we accept it, we feel it, we honor it, we give it space, we say it what it is, we talk about it because we're feeling it, and the people around us honor that. Or you talk to the right people who can hold space for that and honor it. The same goes for divorce, right? We are meant to integrate it and understand, what was this here to teach us? Because every relationship that is, a marriage or a soul, coming together, those are soulmates. That there's a soul contract there. And what a soul contract is before you come into incarnation, before you take your first breath, you are in spirit and you sort of decide, okay, I want to, think of it as like you're looking at a closet full of clothes and you're like, okay, I want to learn about love. So you take out that dress, and I want to learn about forgiveness. I'm going to take out that dress, and I'm going to learn about self worth. I'm going to take that dress out. I'm going to have these life lessons and I'm going to spill those through my life. Sort of sprinkle it through my life, not spill it, sprinkle it through your life. And now I'm going to need someone to help me learn about this. I need to learn these life lessons. I want to experience this, because our soul grows through these experiences. Consciousness grows and expands as we meet ourselves in these challenges and come out the other side. And so our soul is ever expanding and learning. And that's why your soul is actually super excited when you're going through these transitions, because it knows on the other side you are about to find something golden, this nugget of wisdom, this diamond that you never would have had this not happened. So I'm always really excited when someone's them going through a divorce. I'm like, oh my God, you're in the most exciting time. And it doesn't feel like it, and I'm so sorry that you're going through it, but I'm excited for your soul's evolution, because what happens in divorce is you strip away all the stuff that no longer serves you. You no longer have capacity to wear these masks or pretend like you're this person. Or, even if you weren't pretending and you were being authentically yourself, there can be an element of rejection, that comes through divorce. And if you're feeling all of those things, you are perfectly on schedule, or any of those things, none of those things, you are on schedule. There's no two divorces that feel the same, look the same. They are really all quite different because of the dynamic of the two people going through it, the dynamic of family, finances, division of assets, all of that stuff. It's not the same for anyone else. There's similarities when you can learn from each other and you can ask questions and get support, but you're going through it and it's your experience. So I'm just going to talk about different components that come in through it. And if you're going through a divorce, you or someone sends this to you because you are, trust that this experience is true and right for you. And in this soul contract, you two have come in to learn something from each other, because you can't learn self-worth sitting on a beach in Hawaii by yourself. Wouldn't that be great, right? No, we learn self worth in relationship with others. And so another soul has to agree to come in and support you in that life lesson. And they might have to be the villain, or you might be the villain in their story. And that's how we learn self worth. But first, in order to learn self worth, we have to learn that we're not enough. Somewhere along the way, we believed that we are not enough. And if you came from a volatile childhood, or you came from parents that were trying to sort themselves out, or going through their own struggles, alcoholism, drug addiction, you as a little person would have tried to fill those needs for them, learning that I only have value when I do things for you. Right? I have the achieve to receive, right? And all lovely East Indian kids probably have this too. All ethnic kids, I know for sure Asian kids have this, that when I'm smart, I am celebrated, right? When I do well on a test, people think I'm good. No one's on my case. I am loved. And we know we're loved. I know now as parents that, like, I love my child regardless of what test they come back on their, whatever mark they get back on their test. But as a kid, when you're seeing that you're celebrated when you bring home a 95, and then your brother's chastised when he brings home a 65, you don't want that, right? You don't want the 65. You see how he's going through hard times. Or you might have brought home a 65 and then got the riot act when you got home, and you're like, "Oh, I need to shift this and bring this up." I mean, our parents are just trying to help us do well in school so we have options down the road, but little you internalizes this as I'm not good enough. So no one's trying to screw up their kids. Like, I really want you to hear that. My mom listens to this podcast. I really want her to hear this too. Like, you didn't screw me up. Like, this is something that I internalized for me, and that's something that I also then brought me rich rewards. I'm achiever. I like to be the top of the class. I like to be someone that answers questions and supports the teacher and thought of as good. And I learned that because grade one, Mrs. Woods called me a chatterbox, called my mom in to tell me that I'm a disruptor in the class. And I was like, I'm just celebrating my little self because I am a disruptor, but not, I didn't mean to disrupt the class. I'm just a chatty Abby. I just like to talk to people. Ovs, my solo podcast. So that creates our identity. And that identity then can be changed. Like, it's not a fact. I'm not a mean person. I'm just somebody that learned that I get worth when people like me. And I had to learn as an adult woman that I hold worth regardless of what people think of me. And actually, what people think of me is a projection of themselves. It's nothing to do with me. So I literally walk through the world now with my, white light bubble up. I still have accountability. I still have to be like, how did I contribute to this situation? What is this making me feel? What does this remind me of? So being aware of yourself and holding accountability for self, so important in healing, and understanding that when someone blows up at you, or when someone's having a moment, that's probably likely not about you. And did I have a part to play in that? Or what called that in? Because there's something that's happening there that's a reflection of something in me too. So, like, why did I call in that lesson? So, divorce is like that. Like, why did we call in this lesson? What is this soul contract trying to teach us? Because from every divorce is an opportunity for a massive growth. Because if you do not grow and heal, you will call in another life lesson exactly like the ex. And, sure, you could do it over and over and over again. There's so many celebrities. We have people in the family that have married 3, 4 times. And yay, you're learning the same lesson over and over and over again. You will date your problem until you heal it. You will date your problem until you heal it. So, in grief counseling for divorce, my divorce clients, there is so much here about learning about what is this meant to teach you? What did you learn in this relationship that you want to change moving forward? Who is your ideal soulmate? What do they look like and feel like? Because one thing, I was actually shocked my client didn't know this. I love that she brought this to my awareness because sometimes I can live in a spiritual bubble. I live these principles, I talk about them, I'm with other people that believe them too. The concept was of soulmates, right? You can have multiple soulmates in a lifetime. Yes. You don't just have one. And I'm a little shocked that she thought there was only one. And I was like, no, you can have multiple soulmates. And you can have soulmates in men and women. You can have, soul friends, soul family, people who feel like family to you, even, you just met them. True story. I was at this women's festival and I met this amazing woman who I had heard about for years. We have clients in common. She has clients and I have clients that are like we share, they use both of us in their healing journey. I'd heard a lot about her, never got to meet her, even though she's been at other festivals that I've spoken at, but we just never got to meet. And this time around, I just happened to be in her corner of the festival. She was selling some robes, and my friend was trying on some of these beautiful saris that are made in India. And I just started talking to her, and we had so much in common. And as I looked into her eyes and she looked into mine, I'm like, I have known you before. Like, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. And we started to cry and we just hugged each other. And it was like home. It's the weirdest experience. Like, unless you've experienced, meeting a soul sister or soul family, it's like you've known each other for lifetimes, and we're trying to coordinate our schedules to like now go for tea because I just like sincerely love this woman and I want to know all about her. And we're very, different in terms of like style and outside parts of us, but inside parts of us are so the same in so many ways. But not just the same, like it feels like a sister. And it's wild. I have these wonderful soul sisters in my life that just seem to pop up at the right and perfect moments. I'm 47 and here I am meeting this soul sister. I was like, why now? Why now? There's something that we're meant to unfold together. And I've had this amazing kind of dream ever since I was in my 20s of doing healing work in India, but I don't my parents are my mom's from South India, by ancestry, and my dad's from Northern India, but I don't speak the language. I've been back there a couple times, but I truly feel like a foreigner because I was born in Canada and I'm just more westernized. And so I was like, how do I bring this dream to India to help these girls that have been sort of abandoned and widowed and feel like they have no value? And here's this beautiful woman that does lots of work in India, has like is so culturally there. And I was like, could this be, could she link me to somebody, or does she have connections there? Like, you know it's wild. It's wild how things just unfold. And bringing that back to the divorce topic, is that there's it's wild how things unfold. You don't expect this to happen, but if you find yourself in a divorce, it is a life journey. It is a checkpoint that your soul wanted to experience in this lifetime. And I know from all of my clients that have gotten married, they don't get married to get divorced. No one chooses that. And so that commitment to marriage was there at some point, but it's gone now. Whether it's just not a fit anymore, things turned out not so great, whatever the reason, it's still a checkpoint. Your soul desired to experience divorce. And for what purpose? For you to grow, for it to be a catalyst for healing, for you and your significant other, whoever they were, right? So if you don't heal it, you will continue to deal it, right, out into the world. And we don't want that. So divorce is not just a legal process, it is a spiritual initiation. You are unbecoming who you made yourself to be in the relationship, and you take the best lessons and experiences with you, and now you get to decide what has value. What do you want to keep? What do you desire? And what do you want out of this divorce and out of life? And I think it's really, really important. And I talk about this with all of my clients who are divorcing, is that it can be a win win situation. So oftentimes we think it's adversarial, and sometimes it is adversarial. Sometimes they're like, you're not going to get my money. But if you can create a win win situation out of it, because I truly believe win wins are available to us everywhere. And if we can create that, then everyone will win. Everyone will come away with respect and integrity. And you can leave, either on amicable grounds or at the very least neutral grounds. Because sometimes there is, trying to take the screws to the other person and make them pay, or greedy, or whatever it is that it's not amicable. So how much could you create a win-win situation so that you can leave it feeling, again, neutral, or like it was a win-win? So something to think about if you are moving through divorce yourself. And what I do notice is that the breakdown of a relationship is often the beginning of a deeper relationship with self and with source, because you're really coming through, like, what's true for me now? What do I value? What's my connection to my intuition? Oftentimes, women find me in this time of their lives because they want to come back to their true self. They want to know their human design. They want to know about their astrology. They want to know their passion, purpose, and mission. They want to come back to their intuition and their connection to their own spirit. And I am here for all of that. I am so excited for that, again, because I know on the other side of this is like a massive up level for you. That, any relationship that comes in, if you desire to be in a relationship at some point in time, is going to be a new level of awareness, a new level of intention and consciousness and healing, because you've done all that healing in yourself through this divorce. So if you use it as a catalyst for your growth, it will be a catalyst. And it's in this place of healing, where you're going through it, whether you're going through the divorce and you're doing this healing, or it's just after your divorce, you're going to be in the spiritual void, which is a sacred space for remembering who you are. What brings you joy now? What makes you happy? Many of my clients say they don't even know what makes them happy during this time because they were so deep in taking care of everybody else, and they forgot about themselves. As mothers, if you have children, you understand that you lose yourself, in the baby stage. You're there for them then, and then as they're getting, into toddler stage and childhood, and then they get sick, and then there's, school and teenagers, and there's just constantly, a need for you, and a minimizing of your needs, because you have to be there. They need you. When they need you, you drop everything to be there for them. And that is part of being a mother. It also can create an identity that is fully wrapped up in somebody else. And that's not good. Your identity, especially when they leave, they call it empty nest syndrome, because you're looking at your spouse and you're going, what? Who are we now? What do we like to do? Are you fun anymore? Do I even like you anymore? Actually, that's a stage for many divorces happen after the kids leave, because they realize, they look at each other and like, I don't really like who you are. I don't really want to spend time with you. You're boring. I don't want to sit and watch TV all the time. I want to go travel and want to go do things. And they're like, nope, I don't want to do that. So you discover who you guys are after all of that happens. So divorce can happen, at any stage of the game. And you don't have to have kids to have that happen, right? You can divorce even when you don't have kids and still lose yourself in relationship because you're so busy doing for the other. And that's why I think all this Aries energy coming in now, the Aries energy, the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of the initial spark, your the entrepreneurship, bold, courageous, adventurer. This is the energy coming back now. What do you want? Is this really making you happy? As you are starting again now, I'd like to say this to all of the ladies that I know that are divorcing, is you're starting from a higher foundation than you were before. You are now at a new vantage point where you are starting out again in life, but with this blank canvas. So you've got money, you've got a home, you've got, who you are in terms of your relationships of the past, right? You're learning about who you are now. And that is something that it gets to mold with you as you try things, as you go on trips, as you join new groups, as you try new hobbies, you are getting to see, oh, I do like that. Oh my God, I actually like knitting. What? Would do I? Or I like pickleball. I didn't know I liked pickleball because my husband never wanted to leave the house. So you get to try all these new things and see, am I someone who likes pickleball? Or maybe I don't. Maybe I do like to stay home. You get to decide, and you have this blank canvas. You get to paint anything on this canvas now that you want. But the problem is, what do I want? Right? And you only know what you want by experiencing, by signing up for something new or going out with your girlfriends. Another thing that happens during divorce is a massive change of friendships. And that's because your old identity is falling away. And all the people that connected to that old identity, they don't know who you are. They don't like this new, they're like, I'm not sure about this. And inevitably, also in divorce, is that, friendships will choose sort of sides or people that they felt more comfortable with. And sometimes it's not you. And that, again, if you have an abandonment wound or a sisterhood wound, that can feel really hard because it is bringing up the old again. And so we want to address that. It's also a wonderful time of calling in amazing new friendships of people who get you in a way that they wouldn't have before. Or your previous friends wouldn't have been able to meet you in this new place of knowing because they didn't go through that knowing, or maybe they're still under the guise of your ex and what they're telling them about you. All of those things just let you know that they were not for you. And one of the things that divorce brings you, again, is zero capacity to care about these people that don't know your heart anymore or not even interested to. It can still hurt. So if that is the case for you, I'm sending you so much love, because the loss of friendships can feel, again, it's like part of your identity. Did I even ever know them? Did they actually ever like me? And I'm going to say to you, they did. I'm going to say it all worked out as it perfectly did. Everything worked out as it was supposed to. And now they're showing themselves to you as to who they really are and what you really want. And that's okay. So, some practical tools to help you on your journey is to meditate. I know you're like, what? The last thing I want to do is meditate. I think there's a Buddhist saying that says, on the days that you don't want to meditate, you should meditate double as long because you need it. Because it's understanding your energy. Who are you now when you're not in relationship? What do you feel like? How do you calm your thoughts and your body? You give yourself that cortisol break, and just allow yourself to come into rest and digest. Spiritual grief counseling, really wonderful as you're going through divorce. Journaling about your feelings, writing down how you feel and using tools to digest that. We talk about that in spiritual counseling. Walks in nature, getting out there, doing what makes you happy now. And again, if you might not know what that is, go experiment, go try it out, figure it out. Go for a canoeing trip or sign up for some boating lessons. Like if it calls to your heart, try it out. You're not just trying out random, you're really kind of going, oh, that's interesting. Try it out if that feels like it's interesting or that you've always wondered. I sent a client on a some homework for their counseling sessions, and I said to them to go date themselves. I want them to go take themselves out on a date, just them, nobody else. I don't want them to be in relationship to anyone else. I want them to be in relationship to themselves. Because if you are not whole, then you will look for somebody to complete you. And, one of the most toxic lines ever is Jerry Maguire in a movie, and it's "You complete me." Oh my God. Could you imagine how much power you were giving away with that? It's no one out there completes you. You are whole and complete in yourself. And what happens is you meet someone else that amplifies you. As you amplify them, you grow together. You're not looking for someone to complete you, because then you're implying you're half and your puzzle piece is out there. You're like, what? No, my friends, if that's you, you definitely need healing. You definitely need counseling and therapy, because it is not time to be looking for someone to complete you. It is time for you to complete you. It is to reparent the inner child, to date yourself, to discover what makes you happy now, to know that you are a beautiful, powerful woman that anyone would be so honored to walk with. Friendships, relationship, romantic, platonic, right? You have to see that in yourself. And if you're feeling low on yourself, or I don't know who will date me, all that stuff, we need to heal because you are not half, you are whole. And if you're not feeling whole, then we need to find where that other, where that part of you went, because you were born whole, perfect, and pure. And somewhere along the way, you relegated that part to the shadow, to the past. And we bring that out by healing it. So, as we are now, the healing is going to be needed when you're going through divorce. It's really, really hard to heal yourself and walk through it without being bitter or without, coming into neutrality and gratitude for what this divorce is bringing into your life. Because this divorce has brought you knowledge, it's brought you healing, it's brought you a whole new awareness of yourself, and it is a coming of age. You are going through a massive transition now, so it is possible for you to, learn about who am I becoming through this? What's made possible now through this? And if you can come through this with some gratitude, you are really going to open up so much on the other side of like what's possible for me now and who you're attracting now. Again, either friendships, family relationships, romantic opportunities cannot come, they reflect who you are. So if your family's out for blood in your divorce, you're like, no, we're going to do a conscious uncoupling. Thank you, Gwyneth Paltrow, for bringing that to the fore. There's not a lot of things I love about Gwyneth, but I really love that she brought this concept of conscious uncoupling, like doing this in a conscious way of like, how can we win-win this? You want this and I want this. Okay, how can we divide up these possessions that we have and this life that we used to have? And then now, what does my life look like? And one thing that came up in one of my counseling clients is that they were trying to divide up their assets, and one of the banking ladies suggested a planner to help them. And so the husband went to the planner and she's like, wait, like this is supposed to be my planner. And the husband's like, tough luck. No, I'm going to use this planner. And I was like, this is a great opportunity because now you get to work with a planner that is not with the bank. By the way, your certified financial planner should not work for the bank, should be an independent person that can help you really see all of the opportunities that are out there from a neutral place, not because they work for a bank. And I put her in touch with one of my friends who's an amazing certified financial planner. And now they're creating wealth for her, in a way that she wouldn't have been able to if she'd have used the other person that was there working for the bank, that her husband then. I'm like, gratitude and blessings to the husband for sending her in a direction that actually brought her so much reward and abundance. But in the moment, because we were working on healing through the divorce, there was bitterness, there was anger, and as we work through that, it was like, oh my God, blessings and gratitude to you for doing this. Because that's what healing looks like, right? Is that we can see the opportunities that this is bringing in for us. And that's really hard to do by yourself. It really is, because you were at the level that the problem was created. And so can you work with somebody who can give you a perspective that is, really opportunistic and gratitude filled, and the ability for you to rise up and heal yourself is like, this is what we need, especially women going through divorce. Like, this is a very sacred place, and I'm so honored to walk with women through this. Healing is needed. Otherwise, you will continue to date and attract your original issues over and over and over again. And the rise of the divine feminine, we are holding space for softness, and we are taking our time to heal this, to see who we are, how powerful we are. We can forget how powerful we are in relationship because we kind of either become complacent or we give our power away. And this is now an empowering time for you in divorce. So I hope this has helped you to see, what's emerging. Give yourself space and grace, time and support. New friends will emerge, old friends will fall away, and that is okay. Start to become the architect of your life and design your dream life now. Don't forget that you are co-creating with the universe, and everything is happening for an opportunity, and you are on an adventure. Likely one you did not plan on going on, but that's okay. You have agency. You get to be the deliberate creator of your life now. Make it magical and spectacular. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Story of Spirit podcast. I hope you have found inspiration, support, and practical insights to help you align with your soul-led purpose and live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and continues to provide valuable content. I sincerely appreciate every share, and I know it is how most people find me. It is because caring people like you have shared me with them at the right and perfect time. For more resources, insights, and to connect with our community, please visit us at www.sheetalstory.com and follow us on Instagram at sheetalstory. Remember, your journey to a more aligned and vibrant life is just the beginning, and I am here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful light. This is Sheetal Story, signing off from the Story of Spirit podcast. Here's the legalese that's required by our lawyers. This podcast and the YouTube channel represents the opinions of Sheetal Story and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical, psychological, or financial advice. This series is informational and entertainment purposes only. Because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional, your mental health dream team, your financial advisor, or anyone else that's an expert in the field in where you are thinking of making big choices in your life.